Morning, folks. The soap was brought to us from Gold Shave. This one here is called Honest Abe. Some of the scents on this one here would be tangerine, blood orange, patchouli, coffee, spices, and vanilla. Excuse me. And yes, oh, should show that sticker too. The soap is fairly firm. It's not too terribly hard, but it's firm in there. It's easy to scrape out or to scoop out and put in a bowl and lather it up. Got it lathered up here in my smooth bottom bowl. And it's whipped up here with a brush from, here we go, Heritage Collection there. Pretty nice looking brush, isn't it? That's what it looks like there in my bowl. It's a fairly wet, not quite drippy, but it is wet. Moist lather this morning. Also going to be following up with the matching aftershave. Also comes with a pomade EDT. And if you look down through there on the Gold Shave website, down below there's also 3 brushes from Grizzly Bay. Those 3 they look similar, but they're different. They're all red, white, and blue, but just the colorations are in different places and whatnot. They're good looking brushes. All this will go on sale today. Well, I think it's 11 o'clock Eastern time, but in other words, not too long after I finally get this shave done and loaded up. Going to be using some of the usual suspects today. Got the Crown King alum block complete with rubber band this morning, and I'm going to be using the Humphreys witch hazel that's got peppermint and menthol in it. And the shaver of the day is going to start with the box here. Take it all apart here. This has a bit of a story behind it for me, in that I first ordered this back in February, and the first razor never did make it. And I got in contact with them, and they said, yeah, I should already been there. So they sent me another one, and it did show up, I think a week or 2 ago. But anyhow, by the time everything was done and over with, in other words, about 4.5 months, and finally got this shaver. It's called the Broman, and it's got a pivoting head. This is the box that it comes with, and it has all kinds of information on the box, which for me being the kind of guy that I like cases and boxes and whatnot, I like this sort of thing. Because for one, you don't lose the instructions, because all the instructions are right there with the box. If he picks it up, maybe there's too much of a shadow, but at any rate, I do like it. For me, it's my thing. I know it's not everybody's thing about instructions and boxes and cases and whatnot, but for me, I really enjoy that sort of thing. So in other words, even though it shows you can recycle the box, yeah, it's not getting tossed. I'm hanging on to it. And it comes with its own plastic base, and as well as a little cover. Don't have it with me this morning. I forgot to grab that. But anyway, here's the little plastic stand. And I'm sure some of you probably already seen that this plastic stand will come apart. It comes with some PermaSharp blades, which those are pretty nice blades if you've never tried one of those. And of course, you can put the used one over there on that side. And pretty nice little stand. It's got that's what it looks like there on the bottom, if you're wondering. For me, I like the stand. It's very useful, especially for travel. And here's the shaver itself. It's got a plastic top here. I'm sure if you've seen one of David's videos, he talks a bit about it. Let's see if I can get this open without the blade falling out. And that's what the blade looks like. I'm using a Personna, the X series here. It's already a pre-cut DE blade. Works just fine in this one here. I've been shaving with this set up for, oh my, well, since Monday. And been practicing with it, using different kind of lathers, and using this particular blade. And it is a mild shaver, but it is definitely a mild shaver. But it's also one that could be used for somebody that perhaps doesn't have a full beard growth, just have spots here and there. It's quick and easy. It takes nothing to shave with this. It would be very reminiscent of a cartridge, if you will, with the pivoting head. Very mild. I did my best to not only get a BBS shave, but also to see how close can I get, and maybe even possibly even trying to get irritation. And the closest thing I could get to irritation was on the alum block, I got a little bit of stinging on my neck on this one side. That as close as I could get. So it's definitely for somebody that maybe doesn't have a whole lot of beard growth. It's a mild shaver, somebody that's new starting out, or if you're just looking for a mild, easygoing shaver that's difficult to get razor burn or anything along those lines, this is an excellent shaver for that sort of thing. Don't know how low it will work on a head shave. Still not up to that sort of thing. I already put a hot towel to the face this morning and going to be using Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements Ice Cube for the pre-shave this morning. The Ice Cube in that it's mentholated. But I have to say this shaver has been really nice to use the past few days. It's a very easygoing shave. It is, in other words, I tried, to push it to the limit, something I normally wouldn't do with a DE shaver, to see what it would take to get, I guess you might say, a not so good shave. Not necessarily a bad shave. In other words, not like getting cut, but irritation. In other words, how far can I push it? And for me, I pushed it pretty hard by my standards, because my philosophy, I pretty much adopted that that phrase from the R41, gentle pressure. You can get away with a lot of pressure with this shaver. Kind of makes it, like I say, easy for somebody that's first starting out shaving to use something like that. And since it starts, you use a half of a DE blade. What was it? See, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, 4 shaves on one blade. This is a fresh one. I could have used it for the 5th time. So in other words, you could stretch if you're using a feather blade, you could stretch that shave out for probably a whole week on one half of a blade. And in other words, really stretch your dollars out, or your pennies, depending on how you want to look at it. The scent on this, I spent a little bit of time, I got it in yesterday afternoon in the mail, and I spent quite a bit of time sitting at the computer, opening the lid, take a whiff, put it back on, think about it a moment, trying to figure out, I mean, the citrus just rolls right on out of the container. And even right now, I can pick up the citrus, but there's something that kind of gives it a zing to it, in my opinion, trying to put my finger on what is it that is giving it a little bit of a twist. So in other words, this is not your typical citrus scent, in my opinion. It has a zest to it, and it is patterned after a scent. I'll put a lot of that information down below, but because it's after I guess you might say, classic or a vintage aftershave that is, or a scent that's no longer available. And this is their take on this. One of the things I did notice with this particular shaver, and I don't think I got this quite wet enough, is that the wetter your soap is, the lather, you might appreciate the shave just a bit more. Reason being, it's not that this shaver clogs up for me necessarily. It's just what happens, it seems like it kind of builds up, and so you have to rinse quite a bit. And if it's wet, so that way it's easier to remove. That's been my experience with this. In other words, if there's 365 days in a year, there might be 5 days or whatever, depending on how I'm doing. But in other words, there's not very many days that I don't shave. Pretty much a daily shaver. And so I don't have a whole lot of beard growth. So I can't really speak to what it would be like if I shaved with like 3 days worth of growth. Would it clog up? I don't think it would. At least not with my beard growth in that particular time frame. But I've noticed that the thicker the lather is, the more you have to rinse. So in other words, it's not like a typical DE shaver where you can, you take quite a few strokes before you need to rinse it. Because what I was experiencing is that it would leave quite a bit of lather behind on the face, and that was just something. It didn't affect the shave. It's just I didn't appreciate it that much, so I decided I need to adjust my lather. You can kind of tell right there on my creases. on my neck. So for me, I have to stretch it just a bit more for it to get a good cut through there. The shaver itself, though, in my opinion, is pretty nice. The only plastic part, and David Gonzalez really hit it on the head. Right, that this plastic part where there's that friction that's going to be right there, that plastic is going to wear. It's going to wear out at some point in time. Now, like I said, you can get several shaves out of one blade, so that will extend the life of that plastic part. But at some point in time, you just know that it's gonna wear out on you. So I don't know what the game plan is besides a total replacement, because the rest of this is metal and it has some weight behind it. Feels good in the hands. For me, the excitement about this razor is, for one, is that especially for somebody that's just starting out or doesn't have a full beard growth, and they could go almost a whole week without shaving. Not everybody, in other words, is like me or other folks like me where, you go a week without, shaving and you got some growth. I mean, it's highly noticeable. And some folks, in other words, by the end of a week, there's just a little bit of stubble coming out. A shaver like this would be awesome for them because it's mild, it's not aggressive. Like I say, it's hard for me. I really worked hard trying to get irritation with it just to see how far I could push it. Somebody could use it as a daily shaver if they got sensitive skin. Don't expect to get a super close shave. That's I guess you might say the beauty behind this particular shaver is you will have to work at it in order to get irritation. And then if you get any irritation, you might want to check the blade you're using. In other words, it may not necessarily be the shaver as opposed to the blade. Probably could hear that. Thor has already been out carrying on. He's talking to people today. This scent is really nice. Now this particular soap base though is different. If it's been a little while since you tried Strike Gold Shave soap, the soap base is different. Me personally, of course, they, as it goes for artisans, they do try to make improvement, some changes to their soap. I don't have any complaints about the other one, and I don't have any complaints about this one either. It's pretty nice. This would definitely be great for a budget shaver, like I said, because you're only using half a DE blade and get that many shaves off of one half of a DE blade. Really stretching your dollars. This goes on sale July the 4th, today, 11 o'clock Eastern time. And by the time I get this uploaded, it'll probably be Central Time, 10 o'clock. And in other words, probably already on sale. I plan on checking out. If you look at the brushes, just be prepared. To me, I think the brushes look really nice. There's 3 different versions of them that'll be available, it looks like, in 11 o'clock Eastern Time. And they all 3 look really nice. So it'd be your personal preference which one you want to get. Be prepared that you may have a hard time deciding on which one, so you might end up getting all 3. I know. I'm looking at them and it's hard. I like it. I don't know how long I may wait to get one of those brushes. They're set up for a 26 millimeter knot, and I've already got so many brushes, but these handles look pretty nice. We'll have the Grizzly Bay coin, the bear, on the end of the handle there. Like I said, this is a very easy going shave. I've enjoyed shaving with this shaver this week. Being the 4th of July, there's a lot of things going on. In other words, me staying focused is might have been a little bit of a problem. Not looking for another reminder there. But I do plan on here pretty soon doing a shave with that particular shaver. It's a Shave Imp. It was another one of those that seemed like it took forever to get here. Depends on what country you're ordering stuff from. Sometimes they'll get hung up in customs because of the COVID. And that's what a lot of my Shavette, that's what ended up happening with it, is it got hung up in customs for a while. Now, if you were to compare the shave in between the Focus Dynamic and this shaver here, this one has got far less of a learning curve as compared to the Focus Dynamic. But even though the Focus Dynamic is a mild shaver, to me, I feel like it's a more efficient shaver than the Broman here. If you're wondering about that kind of comparison. But the learning curve on this one here is far less. I have not shaved with a shaving gel out of a can in quite some time. But if you happen to be one of those shavers that use a shaving gel, I think this shaver here would probably work pretty well with it, the best of my memory, the way I remember a shaving gel. In other words, or even using a brushless cream, anything, even a shaving oil that's thin layered, I think this shaver would work really well with something like that. Like I said, the thinner it is, the easier it is to keep it rinsed off. Get more strokes before you do have to rinse it off. And might like your shave a little bit better after that. I know for me, I'm used to going through several strokes before I have to rinse. And when I first started using this, it seemed like I would no more, not even get a full stroke. I just get down to here and already have to rinse because it was leaving a shaving cream behind, and that was bothering me. I mean, it didn't really affect the shave. It was just one of those things that I didn't particularly care for. I like to see the the shaving cream being removed, not necessarily left behind. A little bit doesn't bother me, but it was quite a bit. Like I said, I was experimenting with the thickness to see what would work best for it. I don't get a BBS shave with this particular shaver, but it's good enough to last through the day. I do to the end of the day, in other words, how can you say, like 9 o'clock in the evening, I can definitely feel the stubble. My face post shave is pretty nice. This is well moisturized. From my normal routine that I just went through, what's left on my face where I feel like maybe I needed to pick up anything, if I was trying to strive for a BBS, I would have to work on it, especially underneath my trouble spot. In other words, right there where it grows in a spiral. The one day, I mean, I probably should have did a video. It would have been one of those videos probably where I wouldn't have said much through the video, because I was really focused on trying to get irritation. But I was shaving every which direction. In other words, didn't re-lather, go back in the same spots. I really worked at it, and still only got a little bit of stinging on my neck on this side. Even after putting out all that effort. The shave at the end, I had like maybe 2% left on my beard growth left on my face. In other words, just a little bit of stubble, just a tiny bit. Everything else was smooth on my face. Like I say, I tried. I just couldn't get it to really break out in any kind of real irritation. Guess for me, in other words, as you know, it's for a person starting out, this is really that kind of shaver. Or a person who's got sensitive skin and is easy to get irritated. This kind of shaver to me would be perfect. Where a person could shave on a daily basis and probably would end up with the irritation, be happy to get the shave in, be like Christmas. So I know some folks, you know, if you watch a number of the videos, their skin is really sensitive and it doesn't take much for them to have weepers and irritation. And, you know, I feel for them because I remember those days back when shaving with a cartridge, and especially right down here, just break out like a strawberry patch. It would just be awful. Have that stinging throughout the day. Yeah, just not one of my things I want to go through anymore. It's healing up. It's pretty slow. If you haven't watched one of my other videos, I mentioned I got myself with a shave at right at the end of the shave. Here, got some aftershave here. Oh, and a little bit of a tidbit about Abraham Lincoln. He was our 16th president. There's the opening there, if that's of interest to you. He was our 16th president and died tragically on April 15th, 1865. Typically, April the 15th is when taxes are due. Just thought I'd throw that out there. When I saw that and it finally, the light bulb finally came on, I never even put the two together until I was reading it, before I did the shave, that April 15th, that's when taxes are usually due. And that was the day that he was assassinated. So I don't know if it was done on purpose or just by coincidence, but yeah. Oh, the scent is really nice. As it goes for the scent, where it hits my nose, Rushmore is no longer available, and that scent from Rushmore it just hits my nose just right. Really smells great. This is citrus, got it does have a zing to it, and I'm kind of thinking, I think it's the cross in between the patchouli and the spices is what's giving it the twist. I think that's what my nose is trying to tell me as it goes for that zest part, because you definitely pick up on the citrus part, but there's that zest, that zing to it that, for me, I'm trying to figure out what gives it that. Oh, and one thing I probably should mention, because I know I keep on forgetting from time to time when I do that off camera on a regular basis. This is the beard oil I've been using. You find it at Classic Shaving, El Vato. This one here, I don't use a whole lot of it. Don't need a whole lot of it. It does a good job of keeping the wild ones done after a morning and cleaning up whatnot. Hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe. 4th of July. And smooth shaves to you.